Ivana Stradner, a Russia program fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Good morning to you. Also, Fred Fleitz is here, a senior fellow at the America First Policy Institute and a former National Security Council chief of staff. Fred, I've got to start with you. There's a lot to pick apart for this afternoon. If we could start just with the European leaders. I know I'm jumping over Zelenskyy in this moment, but we're talking about, as you heard from our reporter, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, the UK, the EU represented, and the Secretary General of NATO. What are your thoughts on all of these European leaders making their way to President Trump, making their way to the White House?
Well, it's sort of frustrating because these European leaders are quick to condemn anything that Trump tries to do, but they don't have an alternative. The reality is that peacemaking is hard, and agreements to bring about peace usually require painstaking negotiations. What I think happened in Alaska is that Trump and his team saw sufficient progress to merit a second round in a process to end the war. And I think the most significant was this talk about possible agreement on security assurances, something that the U.S. will be involved in. It may take some painful compromises by Ukraine. Trump says there'll be compromises by Russia. And, you know, we may hear leaks about where Russia is right now. We all know that in negotiations, your opening position may not be where you end up. So let's see what happens today. It could be a banner day for peace in the Trump presidency, or frankly, it could blow up.
Ivana, this is also coming on the heels of that meeting between President Putin and President Donald Trump, where Putin acknowledged that this war never would have started in the first place if Donald Trump had been president. What do you make of that? What do you take away from those certain comments saying that this could have been completely avoided if we had had a stronger leader from the beginning?
Putin has always had this imperialistic desire to completely make a conquest on his neighbors. I firmly believe that Putin was able to predict President Biden's approach. President Trump is unpredictable for Putin, and that's his nightmare. Where Putin is wrong is that he thinks that President Trump would have not helped Ukraine, because let's not forget, it was actually President Trump that sent javelins to Ukraine during his first term. So I'm not actually sure that Putin is right when he thinks that President Trump would allow something like this to happen. And I'm also not sure that President Trump would allow what Putin likes to call a root causes of this conflict to be addressed as Putin wants. Okay. So in that sense, I disagree with President Putin, and there's just simply his way of trying to give compliments to President Trump. So we should not fall for that.
All right, fair enough. Just looking back factually, Putin did attack and annex Crimea during the Obama administration. Putin did attack during the Biden administration, did not do so under the Trump administration. Fred, I'll go back to you. We cover the European leaders. Let's jump to Ukraine now. We know Trump met with Putin. Now he's going to meet with Zelenskyy another time in the Oval Office. We reflect on the previous meeting between the President Zelenskyy and the Oval Office and what happened then. What do you expect today? And also, what sort of security guarantees would Zelenskyy be looking for?
Well, I don't think we're going to see what happened at the last Trump-Zelenskyy meeting in the White House reoccur. I think Zelenskyy came not prepared to do what Trump wanted to do. He argued with Trump in front of the media. Zelensky's not going to do that again. But the security guarantee issue is new. It's something the Russians haven't shown interest in before. The Europeans would like to deploy so-called peacekeepers, which really would be European combat troops, in Ukraine as a tripwire to stop Russia from invading again. And there's some word the U.S. could be involved in that, which is really a dramatic development. I'm not sure the American people want to send U.S. troops to Ukraine, so that's another issue that has to be worked out. But it seems to have changed the equation where we're going right now. And Trump's going to have to talk to Zelenskyy. How will we factor this into concessions that Ukraine may need to make to get peace?
All right. Great points by all. Ivana Stradner joining us. Thank you for that. Fred Fleitz, we appreciate you as always.